heard of to have 2 proposals? And he said, can you draw in a manga style? I said, dude, I stare at anime like every day. I think I could fake it. And he goes, okay, well, give it a shot. So I drew another same pages all over again, but this time in a manga style. And he came back to me, and to his credit, he didn't want to push me one way or the other. He just said, well, how do you feel about this manga style? And I said, well, now that I've done it, I can't see the book any other way. And he goes, oh, good, because I didn't want to push you, but everybody loves that style. So that's why we went ahead and went with it. So luckily, the years of looking at anime kind of came to my rescue and got this greenlit because I was able to produce a book in that style.
What project?
And then I've drawn for like 2 years now. I produced 2 graphic novels for them at 150 pages each. So, yeah, it kind of has influenced my style now, but that was why it was kind of fun to do this comic strip because I went back to more of an American style.
Yeah. Yes. Which, by the way, is carbombcomic.com. So
carbombcomic.com.
Yeah. I think everybody knows that, Ben. We've dropped the name like 5 or 6 times already.
Oh, yeah. And on the web page and everywhere. We've been dropping it for you like crazy. So
well, appreciate it.
Pictures and forms. So just because we like you like that, because you're cool. So.
All right. So you were on Full Metal Alchemist, Maze Hughes. How'd you like?
That's right. That was an awesome part. It's kind of typecasting. Since I am a husband and father, I have a daughter that I dote on completely. So it was kind of given to me because of that. And I actually kind of look a lot like the character too, Maze Hughes. And then after that, it seemed like every other part that came up with some father who wore glasses, they cast me in. Even little bit parts, character has 10 lines, and it's like, who are you? Oh, I'm Dad.
Yeah.
Father.
So what's besides Krillin, that's the Full Metal Alchemist role you did, that's the one that people know you for, or is it basically just Krillin and Usopp? I mean, because I'm trying to get...
Oh, no, a lot of people know me for Full Metal Alchemist now. Oh, and it was kind of weird because for years, I would toured the country because I was Krillin. Even got to go to Australia and New Zealand. And then all of a sudden, I'm on One Piece. On Full Metal Alchemist, and everybody's inviting me to conventions, but they want to invite me because I'm Maze Hughes.
Right.
And everyone's like, it's Hughes. And nobody even cares about Krillin anymore.
Well, yeah, you'd have to realize that, though, the Dragon Ball Z was like the old school, like, the anime. And then One Piece is still a really popular anime, but in America, you have to make a very large impact.
Well,
part of the problem was the way they approached it, too. 4 Kids took it, and then the Japanese took it away from them, and then recast it. And what I like about One Piece is the fact that it's the only show I've been on that I was actually cast by the creator of the series.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they wanted to make sure it was done. They wanted to make sure it was done the way they wanted it to be done this time. So when they recast it, what they had us do at Funimation was the directors had to pick out 10 actors for each role that they thought were the best for it after they auditioned. And then they sent
I love you all the more.
Yep, they sent those tapes to Japan, and then the Japanese company and the creator of the series got together and decided who would be in these parts. So now I tell people, look, and this is the one role I can say this: if you don't like it, I don't care, because the creator of the series likes it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the great thing about that is that's because that's one of the largest animes to exist since Dragon Ball Z. That's going to be one of the big ones in America. But the big thing, I guess, with Full Metal Alchemist.
Also, our biggest frustration, because now that it's been pulled from Cartoon Network, because they're trying to get away from that, from anime, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard about that.
So it's like, here we got this series with like 5 years of material, and they're still making material, and we don't have it on the air right now, which is really frustrating. But they're looking at different networks right now, and they're in different talks, so hopefully it'll be on the air again.
That'd be awesome if you guys got like a really...
I don't even get to watch on TV anymore.
Yeah.
What's that?
I don't even get to watch my favorite show on the... Oh, well. So who, if anyone, did you see as your role model in the beginning of your career?
As far as voice acting?
Whatever. Voice acting.
Beginning of your career.
My biggest role model for voice acting was Mel Blanc, who did all the voices for Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and all those characters, all the Warner Brothers characters. And generally, I get cast in the goofy characters anyway because I do tend to have all those weird voices, and I can do all the trick voices like Donald Duck and things like that too. So, but as far as comic books, I would say that Jack Kirby was a huge influence on me. Dave Sim, who did a series called Cerebus. Wendy Pini, of course. Will Eisner, who created The Spirit. And also like comic strip artists like Burke Breathitt, who did a strip called Bloom County, and Bill Watterson's Calvin and Hobbes. Those are my main influences.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
see a lot of those in your comics that you draw. A lot of the influence, especially Bill Watterson's sort of sense of humor, I suppose. Something like that.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the comic strip Bloom County?
No, I have.
Maybe.
I've heard of
it. Maybe way ahead of your time. But back in the 80s, that was the cool strip to read, and that was back when people read comic strips.
Yeah.
There were no web comics because there was no web, but Berkeley Breathitt, who created Bloom County, was it. I mean, he was the top dog, and he sort of created this biting, sarcastic type humor and comic strips that you see today. Like almost every web comic can be traced back to his stuff. Even Calvin and Hobbes to a certain degree, but Calvin had a more innocence to it than Bloom County, which was much more sarcastic.
Yeah.
And a little bit more rock and roll. What's that?
You trying to get him to do the bumper right now? Do it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want me to do the bumper over the phone, or would you like me to do it on my record it at home and just send you an MP3?
Oh, yeah.
Record it at home would be better.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Yeah. That'll sound much better.
Yeah.
That's the great thing. You're available, unlike most people. So.
Thankfully, so hard to get hold of some people.
Yeah, I think most of the people at Funimation have stuff at home that they can record on.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually going to. I want to ask one real quick because I want to get this one in. I'm going to skip forward a lot of questions. Question 19. Either way, which one do you prefer? Windows, Linux, or Mac?
Oh my God.
Windows.
I
got no. Really?
I have Windows.
Yes.
And I think it's just by default. I had Windows when I first got Photoshop and started using it on that just to try it out. And then I fell in love with Photoshop. So now I'm a little afraid to go beyond Windows and go into Mac because I already know how to use everything with the Windows.
Yeah, good enough. It's Windows.
Windows is like the middle child. Nobody remembers.
Plus, I like to play, I used to play City of Heroes, and that was really good on Windows, too.
So did I.
So did my brother.
That's such a cool game.
I thought it was a really cool game, and it was so cool that you could, make these characters different sizes and stuff like that. I mean, and because it was still kind of pixelated, I don't know, I haven't played in like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, so it may be better now. It was pixelated enough that you can make some really interesting things. Like I had a character that was a penguin, and he looked just like a penguin. Because he had this weird little bandana that I colored orange. It looked just like a bill, and I gave him like a suit and gloves and made him really big and short. And suddenly he looked like a penguin. And I gave him fire powers, so he was the flaming penguin.
The only downside about the game is that no one played it. There's hardly anyone online.
Well,
really?
Warcraft
and all that.
There used to be quite a people playing it when I was doing it, but that was when it first came out.
Oh yeah, I played like a year after it came out. It died pretty quick, sadly. It was such a great game. It was like The Sims on steroids. So
yeah, exactly, and and it's kind of like World of Warcraft too, but I think with more options. I thought.
Yeah. Well,
World of Warcraft steals too many people's lives, so I don't enjoy it.
Why? Because it's addictive?
No, just makes friends and disappear, and then they don't graduate until they're 21 because